It's one of Ohio's first historically black cemeteries, with veterans dating back to the Civil War and even World War I.
But when Beech Grove Cemetery in Springfield Township fell into disarray, it revealed a bigger problem: a lack of state oversight.
The 9 on Your Side I-Team discovered that's affecting your pocketbook. Reporter Brianna Malloy explains.
Searching. For decades,
they're difficult to read.
Searching.
That's my dad's first name, but that's not him. This is somebody else.
81-year-old Gordon Holcomb has only one clue telling him where his parents are buried.
Tells us what row and what lot.
Plot 27, Section 5D.
No, I have no idea.
But the information center at Beech Grove Cemetery disappeared long ago.
It doesn't say whether it's south, west, or east.
And so did all the records.
And I have to think about if it was me, how would I want to be looked after I'm gone?
The Ohio Department of Commerce's minimum maintenance guidelines suggest all cemeteries across the state keep records of where people are buried. But cemeteries are also supposed to keep up with the grounds, repair roads, and maintain graves.
Sunkered stones that are leaning forward.
Beech Grove hasn't followed those guidelines in years.
And I've never seen one in this condition.
Beech Grove isn't alone. In the past year, WCPO has done stories on storm damage at Goshen, overgrowth at Wesleyan, maintenance issues at Vine Street, and a woman who stepped in a hole at Oddfellows Cemetery and says she hit a coffin.
You can see a coffin. It's right there.
Oh my God.
Ohio law says if a private cemetery is abandoned, a township and its taxpayers inherit it. So when Springfield Township first tried to step in at Beech Grove, they discovered the law wasn't on their side. Bethel Church still owned the property.
And they thought that we owned the property, and we did not.
So the township turned to the only enforcement available to them and declared the cemetery a nuisance at every council meeting.
It was a vicious sort of cycle that we were going through in maintaining this property, but it was the only legal process we could utilize to enter onto the property to actually even cut the grass.
The 9 on Your Side I-Team discovered oversight of Beech Grove and the other 4,166 cemeteries registered in Ohio belonged to 2 full-time employees at the Ohio Department of Commerce. That office denied our request for an on-camera interview. When we asked if they're able to adequately enforce cemetery guidelines across the state, a spokeswoman told me in a statement that they have no authority to enforce the minimum guidelines.
State enforcement of the cemetery guidelines is undoubtedly difficult for them.
The 9 on Your Side I-Team obtained thousands of pages of records, including complaints from the Department of Commerce dating back to 2010. A volunteer board meets 4 times a year to address them. We found complaints ranging from holes in the ground to dead grass and beer bottles. One mother from Union Township submitted these pictures, alleging that a cemetery buried another child in her child's grave. But out of 222 complaints, only 1 was of a criminal nature. The majority were for maintenance or contract issues. And records show there were no complaints filed against Beech Grove from 2001 until now. Then in 2012, Springfield Township thought it finally had the legal ability to enforce the state guidelines at Beech Grove. Bethel Church announced that it planned to abandon the property and forfeit ownership to the township. But that also meant that the township would inherit their debt, $200,000 in liens and back taxes.
Oh my goodness, how are we going to do this, you know?
The township spent the next 6 years lobbying the state to pass a law forgiving those fees. That law passed earlier this year, and the debt is forgiven. So now the township will spend tens of thousands in public money for maintenance repairs, and it plans to spend $25,000 to recreate a map listing where people are buried.
That money would be spent on other infrastructure projects in the community, whether it be street repaving, storm sewer repair, the mowing and maintenance of our parks.
Gilbert believes the state should allow local governments to enforce cemetery guidelines, since it's local governments with a stake in the game.
Given local governments as far-reaching ability as the state possibly can to allow us to deal with these situations locally without depending upon a very lengthy legislative process to get us to the point we are today.
For Holcomb, it cost years of not knowing. So at 81 years old, he still walks row to row.
Our hearts, our memories.
At 81 years old, he's still searching.
It's painful. Yeah.
Springfield Township is partnering with the Freedom Center to restore this historic cemetery. Township administrators believe they'll be able to find Holcomb's parents by the end of this year. At Beech Grove Cemetery, Brianna Malloy, 9 on your side.